right, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Hotel. My name is Tardolf, and tonight we are interviewing a believer in the Ancient Alien Astronaut Theory, basically. And we're going to ask him a lot of questions. I have some questions written down on this block here that we're going to talk to him about. And this is an interview, so I'm not going to argue against him. I am trying to find out what ticks off these people, what ticks off whatever makes this a thing. And the person I'm going to interview is a Swedish guy called Kenny Stolpe. He is a former politician, I think, and he believes in the Ancient Astronaut Theory. And I chosen him because I think he's a reasonable voice that you can discuss with. So I hope that you people are nice. So what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to cut him in. There we go. There we go. We got him here. I cut him in the video. We put him in the corner. Right here. All right. So he is our guy, basically. And I'm gonna unmute Hangouts. Wait. All right, Kenny, sorry. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I don't know if you are watching it, but you are on screen right now. So people can see you, which is, I know, it's scary, but just, I'm gonna add in the chat, but that's because chat, there it is. I already have it here, I think. Yeah, already have it. Modern technology is amazing.
So let me see also. What's the name of the? Can I find it on YouTube? Is that it?
The stream.
Yeah.
You can find it on Twitch.
Okay.
So it's, yeah, we're not gonna do that. You can find it on twitch.tv/Tardolf, which is my same as my Twitter name. I'm gonna see if I can get the chat in the window in case there are any questions or anything that is interesting. I don't think I can do it because the resolution is fucked for some reason. I don't know. Anyway, so Kenny, you're a proponent of the Ancient Astronaut Theory, right? So,
Yeah, partly. Mainly, I am a member of the what's called the Raelian Movement.
All right.
Which is an international non-profit organization.
All right. So it's a movement about the Ancient Astronaut Theory, right? So it's
yeah, it's kind of part of the foundation, I can say, and our explanations.
Right. So yeah.
So
I was gonna ask right now. So how old are you now? You're
I'm 44 years young.
44 years young. All right. So
I hope I have a lot of long time left to live.
Yeah. So how long have you believed in this?
Well, actually, even ever since I was a child, I kind of had the thought that the myths of the other religions of when they spoke about angels and so on, I kind of had the idea that it could possibly be some kind of other civilization because. For example, in the Bible, they speak about how Jesus is performing miracles, and I always thought that what he was doing by then would, I mean, it's like if you could take somebody, a doctor, from our time and put them back in the past time of Jesus, what they could do would be considered as something supernatural, natural or miracles.
All right.
So that was already my idea since I was a child, basically.
All right. So
Because
yeah.
the way I see it, you can either you can say that everything in the other religions and the myths is completely made up. You know, it's all imagination, or you can say that it's literally true. You like some people they believe in the Bible literary. Or you can find something in between that, and this is what I'm believing. I believe that at the source there is some kind of truth behind all these myths and religions, but with time, with different ways of understanding things, these observations in the past have been kind of transformed and misunderstood.
All right.
So that is my idea that I
right. So
basically
so
have believed from the start. Yeah,
yeah. So you basically believe that the Bible is misinterpreted.
yeah, to a big part. I
Yeah.
mean, for many reasons. One reason is simply language, because every time you convey information to another person, the information will be transformed. The
Yeah,
same
that's true.
is when you look at translations, because the Bible, the original language was Aramaic and Hebrew and Greek, and then it was translated into other languages. So every time you make a translation, you lose part of the meaning.
Yeah. So basically, in a point there, we had to agree. I mean, because I know that things are lost in translation, because the biblical Bible has a lot that is lost in translation. I agree with that. But one of my questions to you that I have written up, I have a nice notepad here with questions. How did you find out about this particular theory? Because I don't think that someone just finds like just uh, thinks about this themselves. Because I know where this theory comes from, right? So I
Yeah.
know its origins. But I kind of interesting more in how a person finds this theory in particular.
Yeah, for me it was kind of step by step. Like I said, ever since I was a child, I had this kind of ideas, or I had come to this similar conclusions. And then also maybe when I was a teenager, I started to read the books of von Däniken and Zachariah Sitchin or something like this.
Zachariah Sitchin.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. So I read those books, um, and kind of almost when I had finished reading them, I stumbled upon on the books of Rael, or actually there was a meeting in Stockholm, or there was a conference in Stockholm, and I saw the ad for that, and I went there, and when I listened to this speech, to the lecture, it kind of, for me, it was just like the last piece of the puzzle. So I bought the book. I read the book kind of straight away. I couldn't take my eyes off it for kind of. I read it in 24 hours, or for me it was just it made sense, you know.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't consider myself to be a believer. I don't say that I believe in this book or in this message that is in the books. It's more a question of understanding it the way I see it, because for me it was not like I read the book and then I believed it straight away. It was more like I read it, intrigued me, and I kind of went out on a search or research to see if it could be true, if it made sense. Because I mean, in the beginning, one of the things these messages say in the books of Rael is that these aliens, these extraterrestrials, also created life on Earth. And you know, many people who believe in this ancient astronauts hypothesis, they never mention this. They go so far as they say that the angels and the demons in the past religions were extraterrestrials. What we say in the Raelian Movement is also that they also created life, and this includes that they created mankind in their image.
Yeah. Okay. So
just like it says in the Bible.
Yeah. So I gotta ask a question there, because I had it a lot further down the question ladder here, but we're gonna ask it right now, and it is so you don't believe. Well, do you believe in the theory of evolution, or do you think that humankind was put in place as we were? Like, do you believe in Adam and Eve? Not Adam and Eve, but do you believe that humans were put in place on Earth as we were, or do you believe in the theory of evolution?
No, actually, what I believe is that we have been genetically, scientifically created.
All right.
So I'm not saying that the Earth as a planet have been created. That's something else. But
all right, wait, just to hold on a minute. So you're separating the evolution of the Earth and the evolution of the humans, right? So,
no, the life on Earth.
So you're separating life on Earth with the evolution of humans. So we got two different evolutionary stages, basically. So we
no. What we are saying is rather, maybe you heard about the theory or the hypothesis of intelligent design.
Yeah, I know about that.
Many Christians kind of believe in this, and so our conclusion is the same, that life is so complex. All life on Earth is so complex. Even like a simple bacteria is not simple. It's very complex. So our conclusion, my conclusion, is the same as a Christian who believes in intelligent design. The difference is that the Christians make the conclusion that this is a proof for God. My conclusion is rather that this is a proof that some kind of intelligence have created life.
All right.
And what I base this on is basically that you can extrapolate our own development on Earth. If you look at our science today, what can we do already today? We can actually work with in genetic engineering to create new forms of life. We can, so we are kind of on the verge. We are getting closer to the day of becoming creators ourselves.
All right.
On Earth. And this is nothing supernatural. It's happening like here and now in laboratories.
No, it's absolutely not supernatural, because supernatural would be the creation story in the Bible. That's supernatural.
So basically, this is our story. We are saying that history is repeating itself.
All right. So basically, basically, just to confirm, like you don't believe in the theory of evolution as it stands, because that would make your idea kind of obsolete, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
And
so
it doesn't mean that we deny. I mean, we don't deny that there are fossils or whatever, or mutations,
all
or
right,
natural, what we call natural selection.
all right,
But you have to look at the facts, and from that, from the facts, from the observations, you can draw different conclusions.
all right. So basically, you believe parts of the evolutionary theory, but you don't believe the actual, the creation of man in evolutionary theory. Like we can evolve, but
No, no, because we are, like I said, life is really so complex, so it's kind of
okay.
impossible for it to happen. It's
All right, all right,
because
all right. So yeah, I guess you already kind of feel how we disagree here, but it's all right. But all right. So continuing with the ancient astronaut theory, as it's, but I know this is a vast topic, right? It's big. It's so big that I can still make videos about it for another 10 years, and I still would have videos being able to make about it. But I'm kind of wondering. One thing that always strike me when it comes to ancient astronaut theory is that it's usually it's usually focused about a site or something like that, a historical site, a historical marking. So, which site on Earth do you think gives the best evidence for ancient astronaut theory? Do you have one of those?
actually, we don't, in our kind of books, it doesn't refer so much to specific sites.
All right.
Rather, we look at the Bible, the Quran, and reinterpret some passages of that. So, for example, we have the kind of some classic parts of the Bible where, was it Moses who was kind of uh, talking to a burning bush,
Yeah.
and the bush was burning, but it still didn't burn up, So
Yeah,
our
I think it was Abraham that was talking to the
yeah,
burning bush, and the burning bush
yeah,
told him to kill his son.
yeah.
Uh,
So Abraham, and our explanations for this is that it was one of the crafts, one of the spaceships of these beings.
oh shit, you cut off.
Who were
Oh, all
from the
right.
ship.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
was it gave the impression for a primitive man like Abraham that it was on fire,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
time the only source of light for them was kind of either the stars or the sun or fire.
Yeah. Okay.
And
So,
you can go on for this about everything that is considered miracles in the old scriptures is you can find a rational explanation for it today.
all right.
But
So since you're talking about the Bible,
mm,
I mean, can you talk about Ezekiel?
yeah, sure, yeah,
I
that's
I, I
a
mean,
typical.
it's a typical ancient astronaut theory
Mm,
passage to go through, mostly
mm,
because Ezekiel, he wrote a book. Yeah, it's a book. It's not a letter. It's a book about witnessing the throne of God, and he described it with a wheels and wheels kind of
mm,
uh, uh, throne, which makes it a little bit disputable. People usually, a lot of people think that it means that it is an alien device or a UFO or some kind. But I personally think that Ezekiel was very detailed. So I don't think
yeah,
that it is a description of a UFO. But I know a lot of you think it is because
Mm.
you think his description matches the build-ups of a UFO, basically.
Yeah, yeah, or yeah, sure. And I mean, it's almost too long, but I mean, I can show you the book. This is the book. It's called Intelligent Design, and
Oh, that's Rael, yeah.
so this is the one. So there is a whole chapter in this book talking about this passage in the Bible with Ezekiel. So where it's explained kind of how he interpreted the things that he saw,
Yeah,
and why he did it. So
the appearance of God's throne.
yeah, and it's basic. I mean, you just have to put yourself in the shoes of somebody who lived like 5,000 years ago, and you have never seen the most advanced things you have seen is maybe like something on wheels, like a horse cart or something. But how would you explain if you saw some kind of hovering shiny disc or like helicopter or something coming from above? You don't have the words for it, so you have to use the words that you have and try to explain it. I know there is another part when Moses is on Mount Sinai, for example, and God is coming down to give him the Ten Commandments. It's explained for me. It's very kind of clear how he explains that he sees the belly of God, and it's shining of like precious stones.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me that's that's a very good way of explaining something that you with the vocabulary that you have at that time.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're obviously gonna disagree here, so I'm not gonna argue against that because a lot of what Ezekiel said, and something that is perfectly important when it comes to Ezekiel, is how detailed it was, right? So he has a vocabulary a little bit greater than the other letter writers or book writers, so to speak, to the Bible, but so let's say that he described a UFO. He might have described a UFO. I don't know. I think that he described some kind of image of the throne of God, and not what the ancient astronaut theory proclaims. However, I can see why people think that it would be something else because the translations once again kind of fails. If you read it in the original language, it's a little bit different, right? So it's yeah, so it's a thing.
So you are saying that it was actually some kind of supernatural, or
Yeah, I would
was
say
actually
I would say that he fabricated a supernatural event. Like
okay. So it was he made it up basically.
I wouldn't say made it up, but maybe he
Hallucinated.
hallucinate. Like let's say you live in Sweden, so you know about Heliga Birgitta from Vadstena, Sweden. She has some hallucinations about conversations with God, and that's what made her a saint. And I'm thinking a little bit the same here, that he had a schizophrenic discourse with a God that doesn't exist. And I'm not saying that he made this up. I'm saying that this is what he thought he saw. Like,
Sure. That's another rational explanation, and I think that is important because that is also my basic point of view, that I think we should try to explain things in a rational way.
Yeah.
And your way of doing it is another kind of valid way of doing that.
But I mean, yeah, sure, we can like because the Throne of Ezekiel basically came out of Zachariah Sitchin's books, right? So, but Zachariah Sitchin is a character that I am highly skeptical about, and more so than any other in the ancient astronaut theory, mostly because he proclaimed to be a lot that he wasn't, and then he wrote a lot of books. Basically, he also claimed. I'm just gonna say this before we continue. He also claimed that aliens came to Earth to harvest gold for their home planet, and like I don't know, I don't like. I trying to understand why, but I'm not gonna.
It seems very logical to me also. I think it's the same for all the people who are talking about Anunnaki, who are using people like slaves and or aliens who come to Earth to abduct people. To me, that just doesn't make sense, because if
Yeah.
you consider that there are other civilizations that have the technology to travel to other solar systems, it means that they are so far advanced that why should they come here to get our gold or harvest our or take our DNA or whatever? To me,
Yeah, because
it doesn't make sense.
well, now we're on it, so let's talk about the Anunnaki. Because boy, this is a mistranslation by the ancient astronaut theorists out there that believes in it. I'm not saying all of them believes in it, but I'm saying because Anunnaki doesn't mean from the sky above. It means like of princely blood or something like that. Because the Sumerians left a dictionary for us, so we kind of know what things mean. So we don't have to, guess. And the problem with the Anunnaki is that they're always presented as god beings, but they're not. They're just they're just people of royal blood, basically. And they're always presented. I'm gonna say this right now in videos. They're always presented by these creatures that look like a little bit like eagles or owls, with some rich wrist watches. Those statues are not Anunnaki. They are something else. They're not even remotely related. So what I'm trying to think of here is that I think that the theory about the Sumerians and the Anunnaki is so badly translated that I think that it went into the ancient alien theory just because someone badly translated something, and that person was Zachariah Sitchin. He can't translate for shit.
Yeah, sure. It's many things like this. And then we don't talk about the Anunnaki in Rael's book.
Okay.
We use the word Elohim because this is the original name in the Bible from that has been mistranslated to God. And Elohim is in plural. We know that it's a word in plural, and after this, it's an interpretation if you want to consider it to be, plural in the sense that of like many, or in the sense that in some languages you use the plural form to as a show of kind of respect, or like so on, like we do in Swedish. We can say ni to somebody,
Yeah.
to be polite, but usually this is not done in Hebrew. It's Elohim is a word in masculine plural form.
Yeah. Right. So
then it's interpretation. Some people say it means those who come from above or from the sky, but this is nothing that can be 100% verified because languages change over time. But,
yeah, that's true. But we know those who came from the skies is even if you mistranslate, it's a falsehood. I don't know why he decided to do that. I think he made it because he could get away with it.
Yeah, it sells
Like,
book. It sells books. Yeah. No,
because there have been many Sumerian scholars that have this, said that it doesn't mean that because we have
yeah,
the
sure.
um
Sure, it's important to look at the source and as much as you can, and that's what we are trying to do. For
yeah,
example, when I look at the Bible, people talk, for example, about angels,
yeah,
but the original meaning of angels is from Greek angelos, which means messenger. So the Bible would have a different meaning if you would actually use the original meanings as much as possible of the words. Because then we would not talk about angels, we would talk about messengers.
yeah. That's true. That's true.
And we would not talk about God. We would say gods, or we would just use the word Elohim. And then you can look at the original, in the beginning of the Bible, it says, let us create man in our image. So the reason why it says this is because the original word is in plural. But then the Christians, in order to kind of make sense, because it also talks about you should only have one God, or so they have to kind of invent this thing about the Trinity,
Yeah,
for it to make sense, and then they say that it's only symbolic that he created man in his image, but we are saying no, it's not symbolic, it's literary. We were created in the image of these other extraterrestrials, so they are not supernatural. They are humans like us. The only difference is that they are way ahead of us scientifically, and also not only scientifically, also mentally, because we are still mentally very primitive on Earth.
yeah,
Not when we talk about intelligence. We are as intelligent as these beings, but our level of knowledge, our level of kind of ethics, and is low. Our level of consciousness, rather, is the best word to use,
yeah,
because we are still fighting. Have still racism. People are still starving, and so we have a long way to go until we can call ourselves civilized as a human civilization.
yeah. So I have a user submitted question here.
Mm.
That is, the there is a little bit of concern for people that ancient astronaut theory might be based on a little bit of racist views. Like, I'm not saying that people, or, well, the viewer also says here that I'm not saying that people that believe in it are racist, but that it is believed, like, it's created on a racist basis because it never talks about creations within the Western world, but always, other civilizations like Egyptians, Incans, Mayans, Aztecs, and so forth and so on. What is your general answer to that? Because I feel like he might be onto something, and that's
Yeah, it's maybe these are the cases that have been most famous and so on. But our what we believe is that, like I said, we were created perfect, basically, as we are, which means that these extraterrestrials created all the different types of humans that we are. Like the black, white, whatever
right.
you
Yeah,
want to
okay.
call us.
Yeah.
So it means, and no race is kind of better or worse than the other. We are all equals. It's and one reason why they have done this is because it's kind of like a filter for a civilization, to that we have to start to accept differences, because if we cannot accept people just because they have a different nuance on the skin,
Yeah.
If we cannot even accept that, we are not ready to become an interstellar civilization. Because if we are racist among each other, we are not ready to meet another civilization coming from another solar system. So this is one of the reasons. So we do not believe that there is any kind of how can I say that that the Egyptians were better and so on. It's just that maybe some cases have been better documented than others. The same as
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So basically, you believe that some cases are better documented than others. That's why there is this this difference in what cases are portrayed, basically.
Yeah, sure.
So because
we don't know
because I'm trying to make sense of it, because in Europe we have, like, what is it, the Stonehenge, that is part of the ancient alien or ancient astronaut idea. But other than that, we basically don't have a lot, right? All right, so we had the Tunguska event that is a part of it.
Which maybe was just a meteor. We don't know.
No, but by H.P. Lovecraft, it was the color out of space. So, like, we don't know. But all the other civilizations do have marvelous wonders, and they are all built by aliens. Like, I'm trying to get like why people can't. Why we're trying to undermine human nature in how we, because I am perfectly confident that we can build another pyramid.
Yeah, sure. This is also, we don't say that these extraterrestrials did everything for humans. It's rather that they maybe inspired, or they gave some basic knowledge to humans. Like, for example, we believe that the what we call the prophets, that they have existed.
Yeah.
And we also believe that there were many prophets in Africa, but they were kind of forgotten or wiped out of history because of the colonization. And the purpose of all these prophets were to give humans the kind of necessary knowledge at that time, not scientific knowledge, because that there is a problem if you give scientific knowledge to primitive people, is that they will abuse it.
Yeah, okay.
So it was more a matter of giving people some kind of moral codes, like the basic principle. Don't kill each other, wash your hands, like we have in the Muslim religions.
So basically they gave us the tools to evolve our scientific knowledge.
Not so much scientific knowledge, because this is something we have a built-in curiosity, so we will always do scientific discoveries, but we needed some kind of moral guidance, or to guide us towards love and cooperation.
So it's a little bit of a cure for curiosity killed the cat. Like, they could, like, we had a curiosity, so they could give us some clues into curing that curiosity. Like, we could build a pyramid, or we could build, let's say, Puma Punko. And like, I seen that Ancient Alien episode. It's trash.
And I don't know. We don't, in the Raelian Movement, we don't go so much into details whether or not how, because I know that some of these sites are very kind of fine. The ways stones have been cut and so on are very delicate. They are very precise.
They are.
And you can discuss whether that was done by people or not. I don't know. It's not really something that I'm been looking into.
But
I'm more interested in the aspect. humanity, how we can create a better
right.
world and progress. Because,
So,
like I say, science is progressing no matter by our own. Our problem today is not technology, lack of technology. It's rather how we prioritize our resources, how we use technology, because so much technology is used for destructive purposes. I mean, the military powers are using the best brains on the planet and the best technology, and this is horrible. And this is what is my interest and of the Raelian movement, because basically the past is the past. It's kind of, we can discuss it, we can make hypothesis about it, but it's difficult to know really for sure, because it's so far in the past, and it's very much a matter of how you interpret different facts and observations.
Yeah, because my clashes before I interviewed you now, my clashes with Ancient Astronaut Theory is usually on a technical level. Like I can discuss the creation of the world, or evolutionary theory. I can do that, but my expertise, if I'm so to say, is talking about this when the movement is talking about certain spots or something archaeological, because the mistake they make usually is that they pick something so specific that I can actually go fucking detail down into grams of stone. Like I can check you so deep that you can't come back from that. Like I did a stream on Puma Punko. I talked about that, and why it's ridiculous the ways that, at least that the series Ancient Aliens claims. Like, I'm not saying that all people believing in the Ancient Astronaut Theory believe this, because I can easily prove that the stone they referred to wasn't there. So they said you can't cut into this stone because it's so hard, but the stone cut into was not that stone. You see that it's so easy to just debunk. It's ridiculous. It's a little bit embarrassing, to be honest, because but I'm gonna give you one last question, and that is, you hold this belief for most of your life. You said that you started believing a little bit as a kid, and I'm guessing that it kind of just grew on you. So I'm gonna ask you, is there any way that you would ever be persuaded to not believing in it?
No, because I mean, it's possible if there are some counter evidence or whatever. I mean, if somebody could prove that life can just arise by itself, if there would be an experiment to show that, that would be a proof for evolution. But
Right.
for me, it makes since I became a member of the Raelian movement, since I read the books of Rael, things have just as science progresses and research progresses, it's more and more confirming what's written in the books. So if it was the other way around, then I would not believe it. That's the way it is. So for me, like I said, I'm not looking so much into the past and history. It's rather a matter of the scientific progress that is happening now that is confirming the things that were written 40 years ago in Rael's books.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
Because many things at that time, 40 years ago, it was considered science fiction. But today, more and more of these things are happening. it's just a matter of watching the latest scientific documentaries, because we can talk about human cloning or the possibility to transfer memories, to read memories of the mind. All these things are happening. Create, like I was saying, create how to edit DNA. That was really impossible or extremely expensive only 10 years ago, and today it's becoming almost like something that it's becoming cheaper and cheaper with DNA analysis, and even now to edit DNA by using
that's true.
different techniques. So for me, this is something that confirms what I've always been believing, and we are only in the beginning of this process. So let's talk again in 20 years. And we will see if we have been able to travel to another solar system. Do we have the technology to create another human species?
Maybe we can create a xenomorph, like Jesus, like an alien.
Sorry?
Like a xenomorph, like the alien in the movie Alien.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. You can create that.
I mean, for example, there's a lot of talk about going to Mars, to planet Mars. And if we go there, we will have to start maybe we want to have some kind of basic ecosystem. We want to grow food there, and we might want to genetically adapt the vegetables there because the gravity is different, or whatever, the atmosphere is a bit different. So that means that will be another important step for us to become this kind of space exploring species of that. And if there would be living people on Mars when we come there, if there would be like primitive people on Mars, they would consider us to be gods. So
maybe
that's my idea and so on.
Right. So
and I have to correct you. In the beginning, you said that I was a politician.
You were, but
no, I had a political assignment. It was not my job.
Okay.
It was just something I did in spare time because I want to help my society and my community to improve. That was my purpose. But since what happened was that the media, the local newspaper, also found out that I am Raelian, that I am a member of this organization and have this belief. And they made a big scandal of this, as if it would be a problem.
I can also say that was a bit unfair because I don't know how it affects that.
So for me, that was completely ridiculous and unjustified.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid. It's especially when he claimed it was undemocratic. I was like, yeah, he believes in green men on Mars. What is undemocratic about that? It's so democratic that fuck, it's really democratic. Anyway, so we're gonna end this interview right now, but I want you to hang on a little bit. But I also, to every viewer out there, I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. This interview will be uploaded on Sunday because that is after my 24 hours that I have to abide by Twitch. So it will be uploaded on Sunday. Thank you everyone for joining in. I really enjoy you all. And I will see you guys next time on stream, which probably is whenever I want to.